Hello, and welcome to Narrative Tales, where I take my sessions from our favorite dice rolling game and turn it into the story that we're trying to tell. So if you don't have the time to sit down and listen to a long actual play session, or simply want to hear a nice story, sit down and listen to this episode of Narrative Tales. Last session, Drock and Albus went to get what information they could about this group that Vandarin is part of. They went to the temple in the city, talked to the order taker in the confession box, went and told Lydia about the order taker, and she invited them to a ball in the king's castle. Before we ended, there was a bit of an event. With blood spilled on the floor, the crowd panics. People are pushing, shoving, scattering about the area, trying to find a way from this gruesome scene. Lydia is the first to act. "My king!" After the two king's guards fall to the floor, one of the perpetrators turns to run, while the other turns to the king and draws his weapon. The first, seeing this, changes his mind and decides to follow suit. King Ulrock backs towards a corner, attempting to defend himself. The assassin chooses to make a dash towards the back right door, towards the kitchen. Aurelelle steps between him and his current pathway. Her face turns not to that of fear, but to deep fury. She looks towards the two at the door and electricity begins building at her fingertips. She lifts a hand as a bolt of lightning exits her hand, finding purchase on one of the assailants, nearly burning them to a crisp. The bolt then jumps to the adjacent foe, burning him heavily. The burned one, unable to escape through the main doors, turns towards a nearby stairwell leading up to one of the corner towers. Drock begins advancing towards the burned one. Albus holds off until he gets a clear sight on the target. Lydia, pulling a flail out from her dress as she rushes towards their king, hits one of the aggressors. Aurelelle nonchalantly turns to the initial attacker and raises a hand towards him. A small blue pin of light releases from her hand. The attacker falls unconscious to the floor. Tie him up. The burned attacker still attempts to rush through the crowd of panicking partygoers, but has trouble making their way through the crowd. Drock has the same issue, making only a slight gain on them. As the figure reaches the stairway, Albus releases a spell. A large hole opens up under their feet, having them fall into the bottom, some 10 feet down. Aurelelle turns to the closest enemy to the king, and with no emotion on her face, turns her hand towards them and they simply turn to nothing. Dust. Lydia swings her mace at the other, but the figure is able to dodge it, turning their attention to her. Aurelelle turns to them as well and mutters an incantation. The figure loses all color in their face and falls to the floor, devoid of life. As the last burned figure climbs out of the pit, Drock lodges his greatsword in their head, killing them. As the echoes of violence fade, a solemn silence settles over the hall, punctuated only by the breathless whispers of survivors and the distant sounds of reinforcements arriving. King Ulrock, though visibly shaken by the ordeal, stood resolute amidst his loyal defenders, their vigilance proving paramount in averting further tragedy. After checking on King Ulrock, Lydia joins the other three as they decide what to do with the unconscious attacker. Take him to the compound in the back room, tie him up. I'm going to see about getting the others awake. Aurelelle peers at the door. I'll go do some crowd control. Some damage control is in order. Aurelelle fixes her dress and walks through the main doors. Drock picks up the unconscious figure, throws him over his shoulder, and walks him to the compound where he's tied to a chair. Drock kicks his feet to wake him up. The figure opens his eyes to the sight of Drock and Albus angrily staring over him. "What's your name?" The figure spits at him. Drock balls up his fist and strikes him across the jaw. "I would suggest you talk." "Good luck." "Who are you with?" "I'm alone." An obvious lie. Albus adjusts his sleeve and walks up to him, smacking him across the face. The figure bursts into laughter. "Your other friends are dead. Unless you plan on joining them, I would suggest you give us something." He relaxes and sinks down into the chair. "We were sent here to perform a hit. I was told to kill him, drop a dagger to the body, and get out of there." "Who is we?" "The Crimson Blades." "Where were you going?" "To the safe house." "We've already taken down one of your safe houses and your order taker. Are there more?" "Yeah, there's another." "Who do you report to?" "A man named Vandarin." A look is shared between Drock and Albus. "How much were you paid?" "I'm not sure the total. We wouldn't be paid until after the job was done, but it was a lot." Albus, I need to speak to you in private. The two walk outside the room. Lydia comes barging in, carrying her flail, walking straight towards the room. Where is he? I'll kill him myself. Drock and Albus restrain her. Hold on a minute. He has some useful information on what's been going on with your murders. She relaxes slightly and goes to sit down. You better figure this out. Now. Albus, he knows about Vanderen. Vanderen plays some part of the Crimson Blades. You can't be hinting at what I think you're hinting at. Surely. He tried to kill... well, he did kill that man. He's just lucky somebody was there to bring him back. He could lead us directly to him. He could be our inside man. We could take down the entire organization. I think it's a bad idea, Drock. I don't like it. If anything happens, I'll deal with it myself and take full responsibility. Drock walks back to the figure. Look. Give me your name and maybe we can work something out. Reuven. Reuven, if we're able to get you out of this completely, would you help us? Reuven perks up a bit at this offer. Maybe. Could you help us get to Vanderen and give us information on how all this operates? What's in it for me? Well, we don't imprison you for one. Or we don't kill you. That's a positive too, though I'm still debating, Albus quips. I will sweeten the pot a bit for you. If you help us, I will get you your payment for you. Deal? When do we start? Drock turns and finds Lydia, still seething. What did you find out? Not only does he know Vanderen, he reports to him. He will be useful, but I need him, and he has conditions. He's not getting out of this drug. He will be extremely valuable to taking down this organization and its corruption. I also think I can turn him around. Nobody that's had an easy life becomes somebody like him. Lydia grits her teeth. Let me be clear about this. You've shown where your loyalties lie, and I have full respect for that. But if he so much as looks in the wrong direction, it's on you. I'm trusting you with this. He is your responsibility, so when he screws it up, it's on you. So, don't screw it up. Understood? Albus and Drock walk back to the room where Reuven is tied up. I'm going to untie you now. Don't do anything stupid. No promises. Kidding. I'm kidding. Let's go get a drink. Albus and Drock make their way through the city into the tavern. They sit down and order drinks. You have coin? Don't need it. Reuven turns around to a recently empty table and grabs a couple of half-drunk glasses. I'll buy you a drink. The party sits around enjoying a drink as they discuss potential plans. The door to the tavern opens up and the chatter of the tavern turns to silence as this monster of a person walks through the door, crouching down to enter through the threshold. With each step they take, the ground rumbles slightly. This odd patron finds an empty table and sits down in a chair that he very much dwarves. He waves towards the bartender as the onlookers behold this spectacle. The bartender quickly comes back with a large pitcher of pale liquid. He speaks once again to the bartender in a mumbled, bassy voice and motions with his head over to the party's table. 3 of the same pitchers are delivered to the party's table. They look over to see the large half-orc stand up from his table and begin making his way over to him. As he lumbers, the floor beneath him trembles with every step. He is adorned in worn, half-plate armor. One of the shoulders is spiked, a flail hangs off his side. His black hair is long and hangs down off his head. The party, unsure of how to prepare for this upcoming interaction, look at each other awkwardly. A deep, gravelly voice emanates from the large half-orc. The drinks are on me. Thank you? Anything for a fellow warden. Drock looks at Albus in confusion. How did you know? What do you mean? We wardens can sense each other nearby. Did you not sense me? Oh, yeah, I did. I apologize. Drock, in fact, did not. He has never experienced that. The figure sticks out a giant hand. Phalus door. Drock shakes his hand. Drock. Is this your crew? Sort of, yes. Say, what are you doing in Chloria? Passing through. Wardens roam, as you would know. What are you doing here? We've been working with the Shadow Fist here in the city. I've been kept busy. Good to see you're doing well, Drock. Is Artemis still kicking? Yeah, you should contact him. A flash of deep thought and emotion crosses Phaelus's face. I should, yes. Hey, do you know anything about another warden, Vandarin? Yes. He was still but a child last time I seen him. Is he around as well? I'd like to see him. Well, yes, he is around, but you probably don't want to see him. He turns his back on our organization. Not Vandarin. He was such a good-hearted child. How bad is it? He's taken up mercenary work. He doesn't care about the code. He only cares about the coin. He's part of an organization that we've been investigating for murders and other unsavory acts. Would you like to help us, Phaelus? Of course. Always. The party spends the rest of the evening talking with their new friend, sharing stories of their times training with Artemis and going through the trials. Albus stays mostly silent, visibly seething as he peers at Reuven. At this point, Phaelus catches Drock curiously looking at his person and around the neck area. You're looking for my pendant. Phaelus Dor holds up a hand, revealing a ring on his finger. He slides the ring from his finger, and after it leaves him, Phaelus shrinks to an average size. Moments later, he slides the ring back on. Being bigger has its benefits in combat, of course, but being bigger all of the time is also just cool. As the evening comes to a close, Reuben's eyes light up as he has just apparently thought about something important. Before the party is able to act to stop him, he jumps up from the table and runs off into the night. I'll be back, I swear. I gotta go deal with something. Drock runs to the exit after him, but as he looks out, there is no sign of Reuven.